press conference today is designed to introduce you to the three young men that have been selected by the Memphis Grizzlies in the recently completed 2025 NBA Draft. We want to welcome their families, friends, guests who are here, in addition to our Grizzlies staff and also the media. As a reminder, once we complete the press conference, we ask that you remain seated because we will be taking photographs of these young men with their jerseys here up on the stage. And now, by way of introduction, up on the stage with me, the Grizzlies President of Basketball Operations and General Manager, Zach Kleiman. The 48th overall pick in the draft, Javon Small. As a senior at West Virginia, he was named to the All-Big 12 first team after ranking second in the conference in scoring and third in assists. He's a native of Indiana, where basketball rules. He shot 87% from the free throw line over his four-year collegiate career with West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and East Carolina. Javon, we welcome you to Memphis.
Appreciate you.
And then the 11th overall pick in the draft, Cedric Coward, a native of California. Started at Division III Willamette University in Salem, Oregon, then 2 years at Eastern Washington, and then finished last year at Washington State. Over 3 years in Division III, Cedric shot 59.5% from the floor, nearly 39% from three, and 83% from the free throw line. Also shot 72% from two-point range and sported a 66.8 effective field goal percentage. A guy who knows where the shots are to be found, Cedric Coward. Cedric, welcome.
Thank you.
And the 59th overall pick in the draft, Jahmai Mashack. Now, we need to tell you that the Grizzlies have agreed in principle to acquire the draft rights to Jahmai from the Houston Rockets. That trade is not yet final. Now, while he is available today, team representatives, because the trade is not complete, are prohibited from announcing terms of the planned trade before it is finalized and therefore cannot comment on the trade at this time. Jahmai started all 38 games last season as a senior at Rocky Top and helped the Volunteers to their second consecutive Elite Eight appearance. He's a native of California, and he is a defensive stopper. He was part of the 24-25 SEC All-Defensive Team, averaging 1.7 steals per game and ranking fourth in the conference in defensive rating. Jahmai, welcome to Memphis.
Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, who was named to the position full-time on May 2nd, Tomas Isilo. And with that, we have our PR representatives. So raise your hand, be recognized, and they will get the microphone to you for your questions.
DeMichael Cole, Memphis Commercial Appeal here. For the players, if each one of them could answer this, just when you think of the Memphis Grizzlies organization, I mean, one, what does it feel like to be here, and just what comes to mind when you think of the Grizzlies as, basketball players?
Well, to start, it feels absolutely amazing to be here. This is our dreams, and now we're here center stage. But for me, personally, what I think about the Grizzlies is a team that's focused on winning, a team that's focused on, bringing guys here to continue the great culture they have. I mean, you guys know the slogan, grit and grind, that's what they're about. They had the core four, which I'm pretty sure all of us grew up watching, and we just want to be, a part of that as well and just have a positive impact no matter what.
Just like he said, I'm super excited to join an organization that is, all about winning, and that's been my whole motto, my whole career. Just like I said, I think one of the key guys, Tony Allen, is a guy that I've always watched ever since I was little, and it might not be the most popular person to watch for a lot of people, but for me, it was something special. So, just knowing those ties, and also being, at Rocky Top is huge for the state of Tennessee and all the fans there. But I'm excited because I've always been about winning. I've always wanted to be and strive to be a winner, and I think that fits what they're trying to do as well.
Just the same thing to piggyback off of them. It feels really good to be a Memphis Grizzly. Something you always dreamed about as a kid. One thing I just think about with, Memphis is a really young core coming in with a little bit of mixture of a few year guys come already in the league. Just ready to get in and compete. I think that's what everybody wants to do here.
Doc Holliday, Action News 5. Twomas, see you smiling as they talk, man. Just tell me how you feel about, who you all and what you all picked up, because Zach said you all needed to go out and get some dogs, and you definitely got 3 dogs, man.
Yeah, we definitely did. Obviously, very excited about all 3 young men. I think, like everything they're saying, makes complete sense. They fit in very well with what we want to do. Each one of them has multiple developmental pathways, how they can improve, and it was one of our goals: get a little bit more athletic, have length, positional length, and I think the one thing that sets these guys apart is also their character and how they want to improve and how they want to grow, and that fits really well with us.
Drew Hill, Daily Memphian. This is for Cedric. I know a lot of people in Memphis have rushed to try to get to know you a little bit, playing all the way out on the West Coast. And one of the things is that they've learned you love to cook. So my question for you is, if you were to cook for your new teammates, what are you making, and what sort of introduction do you think you can make via the food?
Well, yeah, I do like to cook, and I make 1 or 2 things, I guess whatever's acceptable, because we still are athletes and we got to, eat right. Either chicken wings, which is my favorite food, or tacos. I think there's something quick and easy to make, and you can, be rangeful with it. You can do any type of flavor or anything like that. Honestly, I think it was just when it comes introductory to the team, I think it's a really good way to get together. When you are around people in a group or you're at a gathering, the main thing always there is food. And I think for me to be able to do that shows not only I have skills, but I'm also all about the team and all about, bringing guys together and really just getting to know each other. And what better way to do that, than rather than eat and chill at somebody's house.
Zach, right here in the back, you mentioned at exit interviews that you recognize that the team maybe needed some more dogs, and those are the type of players that really resonate here in Memphis. How do you feel like these 3 guys fit that mold in that regard in adding to the dog of the team, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think you don't have to look too far, to see what stands out as a clear through line, with what these guys bring to the table. I could go on and not going to, give a full scouting report on each guy, but I think you can see that each of the gentlemen, that are joining the Memphis Grizzlies, you see that mentality. There's a tenacity that they embrace defensively. You see it on-ball defense. You see it disruption. You see them generating turnovers. But so much more than that, to me, it's the mentality that you can see in sitting down, talking to them, getting to know them. They said it. I think these are 3 guys who are very much about winning, and they go about it in a way that I think has there's a multiplier effect of that. When there's a collective, buy-in to going out and imposing our will, on a game, I think you see that quite a bit from all 3 guys here.
Colin Cody, WRG News Channel 3. 2 questions, starting with you, Cedric. Obviously, I think everyone in this room has heard your story. We know what the work it took to get here, but as a person that seems like, you're just a hard worker, what is it going to take for you to remain here?
The exact same thing that got me here. I think, Coach and Zach, pertain to it. We got here by being ourselves, by being dogs, by being guys that weren't afraid to, put the work in, weren't afraid to live in reality and knowing what we had to do to get better. I got tons to get better at. I just want to be a sponge and, really soak up as much information and developmental skill to make my game as good as possible to help the team win. And, honestly, when it comes to staying, that's the hardest part. That's why I say I only achieved half my goal with being drafted. The other half is staying here and, making a meaningful impact on not only the team, but even the city. You know what I mean? The city begs for a winner. And like you said, I think all 3 guys and even Zach and Coach up here, we all care about winning, and that's all that really matters.
And Javon, with your start being in East Carolina, you played against Memphis. You've been in this building several times. What do you know about the city? What do you know about the grit and grind, and just what it means to be a Memphian?
Well, it's definitely not an easy city to play in when you're the opposing team. The crowd is really good. Everybody's just really into the game. I can't necessarily say too much about the Grizzlies because, like you said, I played against Memphis. But, the city was just really hype. There was a lot of people that always came out to the games. Very rowdy. They talked a lot of trash even when I was playing here. So I'm just ready to get started.
ABC 24, Avery Braxton. For the players, when you hear Zach say, they were looking for dogs throughout the draft, I just want to know from each one of you, what about your play, in your own words, embodies being a dog?
I think for me personally, it's something that I've always done. It's not something that a coach asked me to do, and I decided to kind of buy into that. It's something I've been doing since I was 12, 13, 14 years old. When I told my dad that I wanted to become a great basketball player, he sat me down. He told me that it's not going to be through making the most points or having the flashiest passes or looking at highlights. It's going to be being the hardest working dog that you can be. And I embraced that ever since I was in high school and in college. And I don't plan on doing nothing different now. I know what got me here. I know it works as far as winning, and I know how to improve my game. And I know being a dog is number one on that list. So there's no reason to change it now. It's the formula that I've always worked with, and I feel like if I can grow that and mold that into something special, I can end up being a great winner in this league and help Memphis, continue to evolve.
I think, kind of piggybacking off what Jemai said, like, that's what got us here. But at the same time, I think all three of us, we're not afraid to be different. Like, not everybody gets that dog title, and you don't give it to everybody for a reason. I mean, to be able to hear Zach say that we have that title and, all our job is to continue that and, even elevate upon that. So now instead of calling us dogs, we're, the Memphis Grizzlies 2025 draft class. That's what you call it. But at the end of the day, that's what got us here. That's going to keep us here. And like Jemai said, you don't got to be the highest scorer or, do the best dunks or whatever to be the best player on the court and to make the biggest impact. All you got to do is go out there and play your 110% all the time, and that's what makes us dogs.
Basically the same thing they said, just sticking to whatever got us here. Just playing with that chip on your shoulder. Me personally, I've never really been picked first, second, probably not even third. So I always kind of feel like I got something to prove on the court. And, if I got to show a little bit of emotion on the court sometimes and yell in somebody's face or, get a little rowdy and hype myself up to get in that dog mode, then that's what I do.
It's kind of a quick turnaround for y'all getting here and learning the organization. Just what have been your impressions going through this process? And then, too, have you heard from any of the players yet? And how's that going?
I was here on Monday. I worked out on Monday, so that was cool. I'm glad I'm back. But honestly, first impressions is great. The biggest thing I noticed is just the people. Like, the people are super caring, super personable. Like, everything is natural. It's not like, oh, I'm meeting somebody for the first time and I was like pulling teeth to make friends or pulling teeth to talk to somebody. Like talking to Zach, talking to Coach, talking to everybody around, whether it's media, janitors, whatever it may be. These people are super personable, super nice, and are my kind of people, I guess is what I can say. Even though I'm a Cali kid, I feel like Memphis is home, and that's just my first impression.
I'll say for me, just being a Cali kid too, but actually being in Tennessee for 4 years, getting to know a lot of the people today and getting to talk to them. It's very family oriented, and I think that's important for me. It's not transactional. I think that's a big deal in player development and not just on the court but off the court as well. I think all three of us can improve if we have that connection off the court as well, and we know that they're bought into our development. I think the sky's the limit for guys like us because I'm getting to know these guys even more. I know for me personally, I'll run through a wall for anybody that's going to have my back, and they know that I'm 100% going to have theirs. So just getting to know these people, getting to know their character, what they're about, has been special. And growing up, sounds wild, but I watched Memphis a lot growing up, and I can tell just from their mentality and how they went about things that they're about business, they're about winning, but they're also about team camaraderie and having your teammates back. And that's been something that I pride myself on ever since I was little. So it's going to be easy to buy into something that they've been doing for a while.
Yeah, the process as far as, making it here, it was a really long process. A lot of workouts, a lot of traveling. Just, a lot of nights you sleeping in a hotel, you don't even got a crib yet. But, the process was really long. It was a good process, though. Definitely blessed. And then, my first impression, like these guys said, the people. First time I worked out here, I kind of feel the same vibe from when I introduced myself and talked to everybody today. The people are really nice, really good people. Like Cedric said, family oriented, or Jamai. But yeah, really good impression.
Javon, Doc Holliday again. Hey, man, your granddaddy got us, man. I see everybody make it to this point for a reason, man. But just talk about the emotions of having your family behind you. But a lot of times when you all make it to this, you feel more happiness and fulfillment because of everybody that supported you, like your granddad, man. So talk about what your granddad has meant to you, because I know how it is traveling and having to support children and people you love, man.
Yeah, I'm really big on family. I'm a really big family person. But my grandfather, he has always been there ever since I picked up a basketball. He's been the one person that took me to, like I said, almost every single game. He didn't miss a game. I remember when I was playing at Oklahoma State, you see a 67, 68-year-old guy sitting in the student section. Like, who does that? But, my granddad is really important to my life. When I got drafted, it was kind of like he got drafted. Like, all the sacrifices he has made for me to get to this point, and I definitely wouldn't be here without him.
This for you, Zach, or Coach. When would Memphis get a chance to see these guys play? I know Summer League start next week, so when would these guys play? And you have any nuggets of who else might be on that roster from the current team?
Yeah, we'll have an update, and I would say not too distant future on the full Summer League roster. With the pending trade, Jamai, as soon as that trade clears, he would then become available. Cedric at the moment, TBD. Cedric, as I explained the other night, participated in 1-on-0 workouts in the pre-draft process, nearing the end, of his recovery from the shoulder procedure back from last season. So still TBD at the moment. And Javon's a full go. As far as you full go?
Full go.
Ready to play? All right. Good man. Good man.
Two for you, Tomas, if you don't mind. First of all, there have been some changes to the roster since we last spoke to you. What do you make of the trade that involved Desmond Bain and where the roster stands now?
Well, first of all, want to acknowledge everything that Des did for the city, for the organization, and also our professional relationship. And I think we were in the same room when people. One of the journalists asked me, what do I think about him? And I said, A+ human, A+ athlete, A+ basketball player. So those were my feelings towards Des, and obviously very, very difficult decision for the franchise to make. And now we have a different direction, and we have a little bit youth. We have flexibility with the guys here, and super excited about that.
How has the process been filling out the rest of the coaching staff since you were named head coach?
We've been very diligent about that. We're making progress there, and things are looking pretty good there. But overall, we want to make sure that we have full alignment. We want to have a staff that sees basketball in the same way, and this is also one of the reasons why I will be coaching in the summer league too. We can use it as a test run or a ramp up in. For the coaching staff, and also to invest in these young guys.
Cedric, right here in the back. 3 calendar years ago, you were just wrapping up a season of Division III basketball. I know that you've had a couple of stops since then that maybe set you up for this, but when you think about the journey, is it almost hard to believe that you're sitting in this room today, lottery pick, ready to make an impact in the NBA?
I won't say it's like super hard to believe, because like, me personally, I always believed in myself. I might have been crazy or delusional to some people 3 years ago, but at the same time, this was always like the end goal in terms of like where I wanted to play last, which was the NBA. And that was just the start of a new goal. The new goal is to, like I said, make an impact in winning and become the best possible player I can, not only for myself, but for the Grizzlies. And ultimately, like, when I look at the journey, it's special, and it's my journey. It's not anybody else's. It's something that I had to go through. And then the people that believed in me and cared about me, like Javon said with his grandpa, it's kind of like they got drafted too, because they went through the journey with me.
question for Jemai. Obviously, you played for the Volunteers on the other side of the state. I just kind of want your thoughts on what that East-West rivalry is kind of like, and if you might be the great unifier between Memphis and Knoxville.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing them. That's my job, I guess. But no, it's always great to have a rivalry like that. I think it's healthy. I think it provides competition. And I obviously don't shy away from any type of competition. But playing for both sides, it is kind of wild and it's kind of weird. But all I've gotten is love and support, and they want me to go out there and be successful no matter where I was. And for them to see that I'm staying in Tennessee, it just gives them that much more passion and love for me and what I'm gonna do. Everybody there, they know what I'm about. They know what type of human I am. They know what type of basketball player I am. They know what I represent. And they know my values. And I think that's what I really wanted to take it away from. Being a kid from Cali and going to Tennessee and creating a name like that and being known as a Mr. Tennessee type guy, it's not something that happens very often. I definitely wear that proudly. They know that I've come from not being the most highly ranked or not being the guy that's going to put up 45, 50 points. Like I said, they're already calling me Mr. Irrelevant because I was the last pick of the draft. So, but I love it, man. Like that's what creates my passion, man. That's what creates my drive. And I love when people feel like I can't do something and I go out and do it anyway, and I keep on proving them wrong and proving myself right. And I love that feeling, man. And I feel like that's something I'm gonna do there. And I think if you ask a lot of people that know me and seen my journey through Tennessee, they have no doubt in their mind that I'm gonna do whatever I can to be successful and being the winner that I know I can be.
Parker Fleming, first off, welcome to Memphis. This is for the players. Is there a part of your game that you feel like is underrated or slept on to, I guess, most people that have been observing your game over the past several years?
I would feel like the part that's slept on, honestly, is my playmaking ability. I would say that because on my team last year, I had to do majority of the scoring. But like I told coaches and maybe even Zach, but I feel like I'm a pass first guard, and I like to get my teammates involved. But I had to do a little bit more scoring last year. So that's probably the most underrated part, I would say.
I would say the same thing. Like, it was real tough because I only played 6 games, so I wasn't able to show a complete 35 to 40 game resume. But at the end of the day, like, I don't think there's one piece of my game where I can say is like this is super underrated or not. I got to work on everything, whether it's playmaking, being a point of attack defender. I mean, I can shoot the ball pretty well, but I still got to shoot better. There's so many parts of my game that I would say are underrated for the NBA level because I haven't played an NBA game yet. So it's just getting in the gym and putting in the work to do so.
Yeah, I'll say for myself, and it may be a surprise to a lot of people, but I put in a ton of hours in that, and I feel confident in it. Is probably my shooting. I think a lot of people look at the amount of shots that I had at Tennessee and kind of put that on the value of my shooting. But I think when you see me in a different system, in a different light, in a different setting, you can kind of see a lot of those hours that I've been putting in going to show. I honestly, I think for me was the attempts, and being that I didn't have a lot of attempts and a lot of volume, but I know what I'm capable of. I know that I'm a solid shooter, and I know I'm growing to be even better. And I know if I can get that to my game, I'm gonna be able to be a great, complete player in this league. So just focused on my shooting. But like I said, I feel like it's underrated, but it's something I'm definitely looking to grow even more.